We are pushing boundaries from behind boundaries here at Lucas with Kate McIntyre, James Valentino and me, Danny Lucas. Great to see you all again, guys. Absolutely brilliant. How's everybody?
Very good, thank you. I believe you guys have been back into work today. Is that right?
Yeah, we started yesterday, Kate. First day back in the Lucas head office and London office for the team there. And it was a great turnout, and I think everybody was pleased to see each other. It was a nice human thing that, you know, we weren't all talking to each other over the phone anymore, and we could actually physically see each other, albeit at a distance.
Yes, absolutely. Nice sort of positive start, wasn't it? Well, talking about getting back to work and when people are back at work, how to keep themselves safe, I wanted to talk about a new campaign that you guys at Lucas have launched in response to the current coronavirus emergency called Stop the Spread. Now, as usual with you, Danny, it does what it says on the tin, and it's a new safety initiative to protect the Lucas workforce. So I know we spoke in one of the first podcasts about you guys turning your hand to the production of hand sanitizers, which was brilliant. And that was pretty early on in the crisis. So in a way, is this Stop the Spread campaign the next natural step for you moving forward with the company?
Yeah, I mean, safety's always been on our agenda as a company, big time. Health, safety, well-being, mental health and all of that. And obviously we got hold of this early. The hand sanitizer started a journey that naturally fitted the description of Stop the Spread as soon as we were told as an industry to get back to work. A few days after Boris Johnson did the lockdown, construction was told, right, back on site, new procedures called site operating procedures. And I realised that we could widen out what we were doing with the hand sanitizer to a complete approach. PPE and masks and things like that is not new to us. We've been living with these things for 50 years now as a business. So everybody's used to wearing the right PPE. And all we've done really is enhance what we already do, both in our offices and our sites, overlaid it with this complete sort of initiative, which we've called Stop the Spread. And it's really worked well. It was almost meant to be. It just came quick.
Great. So, James, I mean, it obviously sounds like a super quick project turnaround. How long did it take then to get the campaign up and running from that first sort of germ of an idea to getting it out on the sites? And what sort of response have you had so far from the workforce?
We got the campaign up and running very quickly, Kate. I mean, it was something, it was kind of a reactive campaign that we had to put in place quick and the main objective of that was to give our workforce reassurance more than anything. We wanted to make sure the workforce felt safe, felt reassured that we're doing everything that we can do as an employer to make sure that, you know, they're safe and you know, their health is our number one priority. So in terms of the campaign, we got it out there very quickly. We was up and running within days of coming up with the idea, and things were turning up and kits were being ordered. So it all got out there very, very quickly. And so far, the workforce has been really engaged with it. They seem really positive about it. And as I say, I think we've delivered reassurance, which was our main objective with this campaign.
Yeah, and that's so important at the moment, isn't it? I mean, Danny, the government has, of course, now allowed, as you say, construction operations to continue. But these new site operation procedures that you're talking about here, they're not insisted on by the government, are they? This is something you guys at Lucas have taken into your own hands to protect your workforce yourselves.
Well, the government's always going to give guidelines. They're never going to say that's law and you will do that. And it's always advice. It's always advice that we have to interpret, the same as health and safety law. It's down to you to interpret that. And of course, Public Health England and the government have come up with minimum standards and guidelines for construction. The construction trade bodies, Construction Leadership Council, Build UK, there's a number of others for smaller organisations as well, have been consulting, and they've come up with these site operating procedures. And really, it's a best practice document for maintaining social distancing, making sure that travelling in on public transport is not congesting the system and causing problem for frontline workers, healthcare workers. So it's a whole approach and mindset that the industry's had to take on board, I would say in 3 weeks, to get all the sites back up and running with new parameters, widened walkways, canteens that take less people on site so that there's more space, a whole thing. And of course, we've done our bit. Our bit for us is our practical approach. It's the way we keep our people clean, the hygiene standards that we adopt, the signage, the training, the PPE that we give them, You know, all of those things, we've come up with our own way of dovetailing that and saying, these are the Lucas standards. This is what we will do.
So James, with that in mind, then just run me through the main changes in your sort of new safety handbook that now come under the Stop the Spread campaign, and also with the kits, because you have Stop the Spread kits. What's the sort of new kit in there? What kind of equipment can people expect to see that they've not seen before?
Obviously, in terms of the changes, there are certain changes that are obviously compulsory for the industry that we have to adopt now. Things like social distancing and the like are obviously big things that we've had to push down and work out new procedures of how we work with those as an industry. We've gone above and beyond that. It's involved a lot of thinking about bigger picture stuff as well, like how our people get to site and get away from site. So we're looking at the whole journey to obviously eliminate risk. And a lot of procedures, enhanced PPE, etc. on site. In terms of the kits, they're effectively our sort of rescue kit, if you like, to go onto site and give the guys everything that they need in order to be reassured and safe. And if anything, over the top, if you like, but it's there to effectively make sure that we've done everything that we can do. So we've got things like contactless thermometers, we've got protective overalls, we've got masks, face shields, disposable gloves, safe hazard bags to obviously put all of their single-use PPE into at the end of the day to make sure that we're disposing of it safely, sanitizer. It's effectively everything that we can think of as a company that the guys may need, and anything that goes above and beyond in providing more reassurance and making sure that people are safe, we've always done. And we'll continue to develop them, and there may well be things that we come across in the future that we can continue to add to them, but we're certainly trying to include everything we can as a barrier, as another line of defence for our team.
I mean, Danny, this certainly isn't a short-term campaign, is it? This is a new way of life.
Well, what we've done as well, which obviously James didn't mention there, but I'm proud of this, if I'm really honest. We recently launched these concierge kits that were our sort of closeout kits, if you like, for snagging buildings. We've repurposed those into these, these sort of almost like these MASH kits that are taken out into the field now with everything in. Stop the Spread branded. They've got all the kit in them. And all the stuff that James mentioned, which is way more than we were providing before. This is like, completely bespoke stuff for stopping the spread of coronavirus. Has also got things like videos. We've got an app that people can order from almost a dispensary now from our logistics centre. They can go on the app and reorder replenishments for the project. So we really have created a super, I suppose you could call it a first aid kit on steroids that everybody's got access to, that is completely branded. We've got T-shirts, we've got high-vis vests with Stop the Spread, we've got a hashtag, we're supporting others. Today I've delivered, I've delivered one of these Stop the Spread hand wash stations to a care home. We really are finding that this whole Stop the Spread thing has got a real energy to it and a motivation to it that is getting everybody to step up their game, certainly within Lucas, to protect themselves and to protect others and create a brand new mindset. And because we've already got this culture in our business that we've been running for a long time called Safety as Standard, this is just a sister campaign to that. And it just sits alongside it perfectly, complementary to what we already did as a company. And nobody's had to reinvent the wheel. Everyone's got it very quickly. But it just shows innovation. We've gone, actually, while we're not doing that sort of work anymore, let's turn all of those into that. And we've just done it. I mean, James mentioned within days, I think, within 48 hours, we were working on this. We had a brand and it's expanded, it's evolved, but now it's a complete set. I'm very proud of it. We've got videos, we've got the app, we've got everything. I mean, it's a complete package, and it really will be long term. I mean, we've done this knowing that this is the next year. For the next year at least, this is the way we've got to be working to protect the business, our people, jobs, and others.
And also, Danny, just talking about the Stop the Spread campaign, I know you hinted to me earlier before we hit record today that another campaign may well be coming out of this idea that you're going to be working on. Can you give us a couple of little hints? Because I think we might cover it in a future podcast.
Well, paint's all about colour, and true colours is obviously a term we hear a lot about, people standing up and stepping up to the plate. And I think this is a time when people need to be thinking about what they can do to add colour to people's lives and to support others. Acts of kindness. We've been doing that, and we are now part of an initiative that we want to sort of talk about on a show separately, which is called True Colours. It's very exciting. We've collaborated with some great people, some great businesses that are like-minded, that are doing good stuff, and it umbrellas all of that. And it's something I'm very excited about, Kate. And Stop the Spread will be supporting True Colours.
Fantastic. So more on that coming to a podcast very, very soon. So watch out for that one, guys. Now, Danny, I know as part of the campaign, you've gone one step further to reassure your workforce and set up a coronavirus hotline to give everybody advice that needs it. So I think we've got Jill Monk, the owner of All Health Matters, on the line to tell us a little bit more.
I'm here.
Danny?
We have. Hi, Jill.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Great.
Hi, Jill. Thank you for joining us today. So how long have you been working with Lucas for? Because I know it's been a little while, hasn't it? You're not a new kid on the block.
Oh, no. I think we must be coming up to about 3 years or so. I should have thought by now. I don't know. Time flies, doesn't it?
Sounds right, that, Jill. Sounds right, yes.
Yes, I think it's probably about 3 years. We started off quite small fry, just little bits of advice here and there, and gradually we've grown with you, or behind you, but growing with you, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas continues to grow and push boundaries. So what sort of services do you offer the company already? What are the main things, the main areas that you help them with?
Well, we've helped to develop the health surveillance program for Lucas, because it is most important that anybody working in the construction industry is regularly monitored for workplace health risks, and of course that is mandated by law in some instances when it comes to dust and noise and skin, kosh. So we've developed with working very closely with Lucas and with Lucas's health and safety team, a program to make sure their staff are regularly monitored. The pre-employment, we're looking at pre-employment questionnaires when people first join, not to rule anybody out from getting a job, but just to make sure that they're fit enough to do the job that they're applying for. And of course, lately, the COVID-19 has been on the top of the agenda.
Of course it has. I mean, it's on top of everyone's agenda, without a doubt. So the new advice hotline, James, that you guys have just launched. So it was obviously great to have Jill and the team on board to really help you through that process.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a great service that I think is there. I think the team have really engaged well with it and picked up the idea fantastically. It's about having that kind of extra support there that you can call on as and when you need it. And I think that even if you don't need it, it's the reassurance of it being there. I think it's a fantastic sort of extra safety measure that we've definitely introduced there. It's been very useful.
And Jill, have you provided sort of advice hotlines for many companies before, or is this sort of quite a new area as well to you?
We provide a year-round advice line for those clients whose requirements for occupational health is year-round. You know, we have some companies, of course, we're in there a lot during every week. We have nurses and doctors on site in different food manufacture, engineering firms, oil and gas, that sort of thing. We have staff who travel out to site and actually have clinics set up on client sites. Now, those people, of course, have access to our general advice line whenever we're during office hours. This particular requirement for COVID is quite unique to Lucas at the moment, because Danny wanted to put this in place for your staff. But as an alternative safety net, I think, was the overall thought process, because it is very difficult to get through to the poor, overworked GPs, to 111, and it would just be nice for the staff to be able to ring and talk to a doctor and have a good chat with a doctor in relation to how this can affect their work. So it isn't something that's rolled out widely to lots of clients. Lucas are the first people that have requested it as a special. And we're very pleased to do that for them. That's not to say we wouldn't do it for others if they wanted it. But Lucas are, as usual, leading the way.
Of course they are. I mean, Danny, I know it's only just launched, but what kind of feedback and response have you had from your workforce, just knowing that there is that lifeline out there at the other end of the phone?
Well, I think it's like all things. It's that doctor's bedside manner assurance, knowing that you can pick the phone up. I mean, you know, we've been discouraged not to ring 111 and clog up the NHS because they're very busy. You know, for me, there's a lot of focus that they're putting there on this situation at the moment. And I wanted to give that comfort factor in my team to know that we were going above and beyond duty of care, really, which is what we've continued to do. So this idea came from nowhere. I phoned Jill up and I said, Jill, I want my own 111 for my team in Lucas. And can you help me? And we discussed it and we bespoke a package and we came up with this great idea. We've got Dr. Derek Waller. That's given us access to Derek and his team under All Health Matters now to actually be the hotline. And it's, you know, it's a proper service. It's dedicated. You know, these people are going to be able to, our people are going to be able to ring up and be identified that they're proper Lucas people. So they're called back and they get a consultation with Dr. Waller. And I think that just knowing that they can do that, even though it's only just started yesterday, the 20th, it launched on the 20th of March, 20th of April, sorry. This is something that has been a huge hand of God type sort of safety net feeling in the business. We've all been getting a lot of assurance from it. We've got a poster. It's on our screens. It's on our Stop the Spread campaign that we've put out. Everyone's got it. I mean, and, you know, I believe, and it's like a lot of things, you know, sometimes you just need to talk to somebody and it gives you that assurance. This will be life-changing and will help a lot of people. And it will certainly take pressure off the NHS. It's a brand new service, as Jill said, that hasn't been offered to anyone else, but we came up with it. It's part of our Stop the Spread campaign. And, you know, I'm very proud of that, very proud.
Oh, and I'm sure it's something, Jill, you'll probably agree that you will end up rolling out to other companies at some point in the future when you see how successful this will be.
Well, certainly we're very happy to. Just to say that we've actually, although it started yesterday, we actually took our first call on Friday. I don't know whether Danny knows that even, but we were taking the first call on Friday, which was amazing, really, considering the line hadn't even opened. But we made sure that it was.
Well, it's good to know, Jill, that you were answering the phones even before the hotline was officially open. I mean, Danny, that must make you feel great about this whole project.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to know that, you know, even before the service launched formally, that All Health Matters were there ready to take calls and that staff were actually able to tap into that. I mean, that's brilliant. I mean, you know, Monday was the first day back for the office teams, even though the site teams started just over a week ago. And we wanted to time this, obviously, that it was all going to launch on the 20th because it tied in then with the offices. But clearly, you know, anyone that's had anticipation has gone and used it, which is fantastic. That's what it's there for.
Now, I know, obviously, you know, in a way, we're talking about people's physical health at the moment quite a lot. But of course, their mental health issues are of huge importance as well. Especially during this challenging time. But I know you've already got measures in place, Danny. You have a whole team of mental health first aiders as part of your workforce. And have you been working with Jill over the years to set up structures there?
Well, what we have got is we've got signposting within the business through our mental health first aiders network, if you like, to actually be able to point back to All Health Matters for mental health counselling if needed. Jill, obviously, I don't get personally involved in poking around on personal stuff with my staff. It's very confidential. I'm not sure whether that's actually been tapped into as a service at all on a broad yes or no, but it's certainly a service that I know you offer to us and is there if we need it.
Yes, we have done some for Lucas employees over the time that we've been dealing with you. And that is a service that we are, again, we're ahead of the National Health Service, who sadly have got 3 months waiting lists for even pretty serious cases. And stress is one of those things that can be either very short term, in that it is just getting over perhaps a bereavement of a loved pet or something like that, or it could be very, very major, where someone is really suffering because of some family or financial or addiction or stresses that are nothing to do with work particularly, but of course it impacts work. And that's where occupational health can really make a difference, because we can try to make sure that person continues to function properly at work, so to keep their income coming in, to keep them motivated and mentally switched on, to help them cope with the other things that are going on in their lives. So that is something that we do a huge amount of work with all of our clients, tap into that service. And I think you're right. I think your mental first aiders are excellent, that first point of contact. And they are the people that might well spot someone else in the workforce who hasn't yet been able to come up and say, I need help. And of course, by having that buddy system, if you like, it is very, very valuable, because then at least you can identify them very early. Because there's no doubt about it, the sooner these things are tackled, the sooner that person can be restored to equilibrium.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And for me, Kate, it's about having an environment in our business that is making everybody feel safe, making everybody feel positive. We try as much as possible to create that happiness and that positivity in Lucas and that care, so that people feel that we really are a place that they want to be. And I think with this situation that we've now got, I've come up with this term that we want working at Lucas to feel as safe as houses, because ultimately you've got people that aren't yet being asked to go back to work, that are being told to stay at home. Industries like ours now have to get back to work. We want people to feel that they are in a bubble, if you like, where it's as safe as their house. And these extra things that we're doing with Jill, albeit them maybe temporary, and maybe they'll last a year or maybe they'll last 2 years, we don't know. But the base level stuff that's already there with All Health Matters is already a very high level of duty of care to give that support to the Lucas team, because we want people to be fully functioning on all cylinders mentally and be able to earn their living and pay for their families to, survive and live and pay their mortgages. It's very important, all of this.
Indeed. Oh, it is completely. Mental and physical health and well-being is of utmost importance, particularly at this current time as well. I mean, Jill, I know, just finally, before you go, we've obviously been focusing on Lucas today, but what advice would you give to workers and their families in any size company that maybe haven't got the luxury of having a hotline to call within the company? How would you get them to stay safe and maybe try and stay one step ahead of the virus?
Well, the Public Health England, the government's guide, there's a lot of guidance out there. It's coming out at us from everywhere, from social media to the general press, the television, the BBC. Everybody's running bite-sized helplines and advice sheets. I don't know about you, Danny, but we are inundated with it. Now, it's very difficult for, if I can use the term, the man in the street, to sift through all of that to see which path they should be reading, because you can't possibly read it all. My advice, I think, is to stick with the government guidance. The government guidance is official. It is not fake news. It is not sensationalized. There's so many of the media, particularly the journalists and the television and the anchor people hiding behind their sofas. They sensationalize everything because they've got to fill up 24-hour news cycles. So they almost create drama, and they inflame the situation because they want to get the viewing audience. And that is not helpful. So certainly from my point of view, I no longer look at the news. I do turn on at 5 o'clock and watch the government briefing at 5, and I always just look at the headlines on my phone every morning. I just look at the headlines to see, is there anything there I really want to read? Other than that, I'm just not tuning into the news. Stick with the government guidelines, stick with gov.uk website. That is so well resourced, and it gives you continual support, and it will answer just about any question you've got. And don't listen to the media when they say the government don't know what they're doing. Because
yeah, I totally agree with Jill's approach there. I've got to say, it's a very
Yeah.
simple format, but it's the one that I've actually been adopting as well. It so makes sense, and so many people have allowed the media to get into their brains, and it's completely cooked their minds. And it's a big problem.
And that is what's causing so much mental stress.
Yeah.
Because
Yes,
people are
of course,
believing
Jill.
that we're at the end of the world, that they're not going to have a job in 3 months' time, that if they go out they'll be dead. There's so much anxiety caused because it's being whipped up by the media, which is appalling.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely great advice there, to just try and not sort of surround yourself and immerse yourself in it. And what you say is true. It's very difficult, isn't it, Danny, when you have got 24-hour news channels that are regurgitating everything and changing it and hyping it all up all the time.
Well, I've waded my way through the noise to try and funnel it all into a stop the spread message that's very simple for everybody in terms of information. It's all based on government guidelines. It's all based on what the industry have agreed with Public Health England for construction. I've funneled that into a Lucas language that gives everybody a single place to go to.
Exactly right.
And we've continued to funnel that through our voice, if you like, not from a media point of view, but from a business that cares point of view. And that's actually decluttered it for a lot of people, which is great.
Yeah.
So,
and that's very, very wise.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly think with Lucas and All Health Matters working together on this, your workforce, Danny, can feel very sort of safe and secure and know they have that safety net out there. Well, thank you so much, Jill, for having a chat with us. And I hope the advice hotline continues to be a great tool for the company.
I hope so, but then on the other hand, I hope it doesn't get used too much, because we want the Lucas people to feel already safe in their bubble and not need to reach out. So, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? But we're there if they need us, and we are all very, very communicable. They won't get answered by machines. We are people, and we know how they feel.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jill.
Jill, it's been great having you on the show. Thank you ever so much for your time.
Thanks,
and we'll
Danny.
speak soon. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Jill.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So just before we round up today, I mean, James, so I know you've just been into work again recently now, but personally in your everyday life at home or working from home, has your behaviour changed dramatically then as you're trying to sort of maintain these new social distancing rules?
It has, yeah, and I think the main yardstick really in life generally, whether it's work life, home life, all over, is the question of if things are essential. I think is the kind of the easiest rule that you can abide by. And as Danny's mentioned, certain industries are now essential. That means certain job roles are obviously essential, and where things are essential, it's about going through with them, but making sure that they're done in the manner that's as safe as possible, and making sure that you've eliminated every risk that you can eliminate. And that's exactly the same sort of profile that I've followed. A lot of people have followed in private lives as well as in work lives. I think it's about looking at everything that has to happen and making it as safe as possible moving forwards.
Yeah, and Danny, finally, I mean, what message would you give to other companies in the construction arena and beyond who are looking to update and modify their safety measures, which are obviously not only going to be in response to today's crisis, but also to hopefully future-proof the safety and well-being of their workforce as they move forward? Because life really won't be the same again, will it?
Definitely not. It's a new era. It's a new way of working now. It's changed the face of construction forever, I think, because our mindsets are completely different now. I think that businesses really need to get to grips with what's being asked for. The information's there, as Jill said. You can get the resources by going to gov.uk. Certainly the industry has been very clear as well with site operating procedures. Companies should be looking at those and working out and translating that into their own business procedures and getting on with it, and not taking forever either, because if you don't move quickly, you're going to be last to market. And at the moment, it's about who's going to get back to the market first. And unfortunately, moving quick's key. James, you heard it from James, within days we were up and running. We've been doing this weeks now. We're 4 weeks into this. This is week 5, I believe, of the lockdown. We were on this a week in. I mean, Stop the Spread was born within 7 days, and we're ready to go. And we've just been finessing it. We're up and running. We're working. We've got 90 people back on site. We've got both our offices open. Our logistics team are in place. Everybody understands stop the spread and they're working to it. Businesses need to do that now, not stop the spread. They do their own campaign, but they've got to do it quickly and they've got to get back to work and do it safely, responsibly, and understand what's required. That's the urgency. That's the key.
Well, thanks very much, Danny. And thank you, James, for today as well. Now, I know in the coming podcasts, we're going to delve a little bit deeper into what life back on site looks like. And also, you did dangle a little carrot there. You gave us a little sneaky peek of something called True Colours. Danny, can we find out more about that next week, maybe?
Yeah, I think that would be a great follow-on, actually, Kate, because this is about to launch in a really big way. I don't want to give the game away at the moment, but hashtag True Colours. Go out there on social media now and you'll see stuff happening. There's some great stories. And look out, there's going to be a really big noise about this. And I think that would be a great show.
Brilliant. All right, guys. Well, see you next week.
Thank you. See you all soon.
See you soon.
We are pushing boundaries from behind boundaries here at Lucas with Kate McIntyre, James Valentino, and me, Danny Lucas.